Welcome back in. Good morning. It's Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. I am Kyler Collum. I am today's host of the Daily Brief here at the Dakotan. Thanks everybody for stopping by today to check out some big headlines coming into the morning. Little housekeeping note, rolling into everything. We mentioned it on the podcast yesterday with Roscoe Striley, but housekeeping note for some things going on here at the Dakotan. We aren't governed by the FCC, so we don't have to stand by any federal election time sharing laws. However, we do feel it's in the best interest of us and all of our viewers that we do follow those rules. So unfortunately, until post-election, the Let's Talk About It podcast with Rob Fuller will be paused. So as soon as the election's over, hopefully we can get that back on and rolling. Until then, like we said on the show, every single one of the candidates will get a single a candidate podcast where Jonathan does a sit-down interview with them, and then we will try to invite every single one of them onto one of the live shows as well. So we do have plans going forward there. Expect those candidate interviews to come out probably in June. It'll be after all of the signatures are officially submitted, and we'll try to get them done in a concise time for that. That's, I think, everything I have for the housekeeping side of things. So let's roll into this day in history. Back in 1968, during the Vietnam War, student protesters at Columbia University in New York City take over administration buildings and shut down the university. Sounds familiar. Another interesting one, in 1999, NATO bombs the headquarters of the Radio Television Serbia as part of their aerial campaign against what was the remnants of the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. So a lot of those Balkan wars in the 90s taking place. Then one fun one for us. In 2005, the first YouTube video titled Me at the Zoo was published. So back in 2005, YouTube really kicked off today. And one last one here. In 1985, New Coke came out. Coca-Cola dropped New Coke, new formula, and everybody hated it. So a little headline update for you, or this day in history update for you there. Let's move into some headlines coming into today. Yesterday, I put out an article on the childcare debate that took place at City Council on Monday. Resolution to grant property tax exemptions for childcare centers failed in the 3-3 vote Monday night, despite strong public support. Proponents argued the exemption was critical to keeping centers open and affordable, while opponents cited concerns about fairness and shifting tax burdens. The debate, which lasted over an hour, highlighted a growing divide over how best to address Minot's childcare crisis. North Dakota lawmakers advance the private school voucher bill. North Dakota is poised to expand school choice as lawmakers advance a private school voucher bill, and Governor Kelly Armstrong signed legislation establishing public charter schools. House Bill 1540, now awaiting the governor's signature, would create education savings accounts for private school families starting in 2026, offering up to $4,000 per student depending on income. Critics argue it violates the state constitution by subsidizing private education, while supporters call it a win for parental control. Meanwhile, charter school legislation has already been signed into law, signaling a major shift in the state's educational landscape. So big changes coming to the state's system starting probably next year, 2026, right? Yeah. And so another one here. North Dakota Senate removes funding for the Life Education Committee. North Dakota senators narrowly rejected a $1 million proposal to fund a Life Education Committee aimed at promoting abortion alternatives. Citing lack of public input and procedural concerns, the amendment brought by Senator Jane Myrdal failed 23-24. The Senate did approve funding shifts in the Office of Management and the Budget, including $850,000 for Prairie Public infrastructure and a $45 million cut to the proposed state hospital in Jamestown. The bill now returns to the House for a final vote. Sorry, words are hard. Lawmakers approve an earlier deadline for North Dakota absentee ballots to align with a Trump executive order. The League of Women Voters is urging Governor Armstrong to veto that bill. It would require absentee ballots in North Dakota to arrive by Election Day rather than just be postmarked before. Backers say it aligns with federal rules in other states. Critics call it voter suppression that hurts rural, native, elderly, and disabled voters. The change, added late in the process, comes in response to Trump's executive order, which is now facing its own legal challenges. Rare earth minerals seen as a rare opportunity here in North Dakota. North Dakota is positioning itself as a national leader in rare earth mineral development, with Senator Dale Patton pushing a bill that signals federal interest, clarifies land rights, and funds a state study. With China dominating the global supply, state leaders hope to tap into North Dakota's coal seams to extract these high-demand minerals, vital for electronics and defense. While landowners remain cautious, the updated bill aims to balance development with property rights that could open the door to federal support and investment. Kind of ends, I think, all of the local stuff. Got a couple national headlines coming into the day. There was some talk with Trump criticizing the Federal Reserve Chair over the weekend. He has no intentions of firing him, so it should be a little bit of a settler for some of the stock market stuff. It's Tuesday. He said he had no intention of removing him, despite some public criticism over interest rates and inflation. Some of those messages came after his fiery social media posts rattled the markets, reigniting concerns about political pressure on the U.S. central bank. And then the Trump administration files its first racketeering charges against a big migrant terrorist group that is present in the U.S. In a sweeping move under Operation Take Back America, federal prosecutors filed the first ever RICO charges against 27 alleged members and associates of the violent migrant gang, accusing them of murder, human trafficking, and drug distribution, and terrorism-linked crimes in New York. Attorney General Pam Bondi called the indictments a major blow to the gang's U.S. operations. So, great rundown of the headlines coming into today. Couple things to look out for this week. Jonathan's going to be out of town, so you're going to get Kyler doing the solo pod tomorrow again. We'll figure out who we have as a guest on there, and that'll be the big thing. I'll have the daily brief up. I'm going to have an article out today discussing the liquor ordinance discussion that happened at City Council on Monday. And yeah, tomorrow I plan on having an article that is a follow-up to my piece from last Saturday, talking about the statewide voter turnout for mayor elections. This one I'm going to specify and look in harder at Minot's election turnouts over pretty much every election and try to see how things have trended and how primaries versus general elections kind of work. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow. Check out for the liquor license ordinance article today, and as always, thanks so much for watching, and I think that's everything. So bye.